Today is Wednesday, January 31st, and today I'm just wondering what the Mavericks exactly are this year.
And now, a word from our title sponsor.
Are all financial advisors fiduciaries? Fewer than you think. Not knowing could reduce your lifestyle. Hi, I'm Mitch Kramer, founder and CEO of Fluent Financial. A fiduciary is a regulatory term to reduce conflicts of interest in wealth management. A fiduciary always works in your best interest. A non-fiduciary advisor might put their compensation or company ahead of yours. At Fluent Financial, we are certified financial planners acting as fiduciary advisors. To learn more, go to fluentfinancial.com or Fluent Financial's YouTube channel.
With seasonings, there seem to be so many, and then they just sit in your spice cabinet forever. That's not true of Goodness Steak Seasoning. I know the name steak suggests that it's very good on steak, which it is, but Goodness Steak Seasoning is so versatile. Use it on veggies, burgers, soups, even popcorn. Get it by going to the website bringthetasty.com. Goodness, this seasoning is good.
Hey y'all, Jason Velo here with Oh Hail Contractors. I've been in the business for a little over a decade, and one thing I really enjoy doing is serving people. I want to see things made new again, and I can help you through that process by making the insurance claims process understandable and almost easy, believe it or not. Also, I can give you great suggestions on the best roofing system and even ventilation for your home, which ultimately makes your shingle last a little bit longer, even in Texas. Who do you know that wants that level of service? So if you'd like some help with that, you can call me at 972-567-5766 or find me at ohhail.com, and that's OHHHAIL.com.
We are just past the halfway point of the NBA season, and the Mavericks stand 26-21, which gets them tied for 7th and 8th place in the West. Any hopes of getting in the top 4, where you have the home floor advantage for at least the first round of the playoffs, that's disappeared, because the top 4 in the West, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, the Clippers, and Denver, have pretty much separated themselves from the rest of the group of contenders in the West. But the idea now for the Mavs is get to at least 6th in the final standings of the West, because you don't want to be 7, 8, 9, and 10 and get involved in that first round play-in madness that the NBA has started doing a couple of years ago. Now, there has been talk of how the injuries have affected the Mavs, and quite honestly, that holds some water. But understand, the Mavs are only 13th in the NBA in games missed to injuries. They started 8-2, but since then, they've been 18-19. And a look at the Mavericks statistically gives you a really, really clear picture. Offensively, we know they can score. They can score with anybody. Now, it would help if they improved that 25th in the league free throw shooting, but this offense can cook. On the other end of the floor, this defense isn't doing it. You look at the stats, and they're pretty astounding. The Mavs are 21st in the league in points allowed per game, 21st in the league in opponents' shooting percentage, 27th in the league in steals, 29th in the league in blocked shots, and here's the worst one, 28th in the league in percentage rebounding. That's not pure rebounding, that's percentage rebounding, meaning when a shot is missed, what are the chances the Mavericks get the rebound on that missed shot? They are 28th in the 30-team league. The February 8th trade deadline looms for this club. And the Mavs would like to make a deal. A couple of the really top names have already gone off the list here, with Siakam and Anunoby having been dealt. Who's available? understanding that in draft choices, the Mavs have only their first in 27 and a Toronto second in 25 to offer before 2030. Washington would like to change their team. That's been true of the last 10 years. Washington's been trying to change their team forever and not getting it done. Now, Kyle Kuzma is a very good player. He can score. But does he help the Mavericks at the other end of the floor, defensively and rebounding? No, probably not. He's just one more player on this team that needs the ball. Now, let's also look at him as a forward and understand something about the Mavericks. They are guard heavy. The three guards of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and Tim Hardaway, adding their season scoring averages, contribute about 80 points per game. The starting front line of Derek Jones, Derek Lively, and Grant Williams, they contribute only about 28 points per game. Now, they're not bad players. It's just that this team is extraordinarily guard heavy. Adding Kuzma would simply give them a forward who also had to have the ball. Now, former Mavs Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie are available. Maybe Smith, maybe not. Washington has an interesting center, Daniel Gafford, available, and he'd help defensively and on the boards. And here's a name to keep an eye on. That's Royce O'Neal. He's a 6'4" forward. Now you're saying, oh, wait a minute. A tiny forward, how's that going to help? He has a 6'10" wingspan. He can defend, and he's getting better at hitting threes, by the way. The Mavs, though, are troubled in another area in making a trade. What teams want is either draft capital or expiring contracts. And the Mavs have several people they might like to trade, but their contracts aren't expiring. Thus, the team acquiring them would have to keep those players for 2 or 3 or 4 years. Like Josh Green, making over $13 million a year. Maxi Kleber, $11 million a year. Backup center Rashard Holmes, making $13 million a year. Those three are making $37 million a year. And when everyone is healthy on this club, they are, by my figuring, the 7th, 9th, and 13th men on this team. The Mavs also have Dwight Powell, but he's back at a moderate contract, $4 million a year. But Powell, the last few years, has been there at $11 million. And now the Mavs have 3 people like Powell used to be. Green, Kleber, and Holmes, making pretty significant salaries, who are difficult to deal. Will there be a big trade? I don't think so. I don't think the Mavs have the draft capital to pull a big trade, nor do they have the expiring contracts. Though, someone might have some interest in Josh Green, who's pretty young. I could still see something like, if the Mavericks like Royce O'Neal, Josh Green for Royce O'Neal. But for now, as the Mavericks stand right now, this year's Maverick team looks like a middle-of-the-road NBA squad.
Today's episode has been brought to you by Fluent Financial, by Oh Hell Roofing, and by Goodness Steak Seasoning.
Just Wondering is a production of DSP Media for FanStream Sports. You can find Norm's show along with other great programming at fanstreamsports.com.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Just Wondering. If you enjoyed it, please hit follow. Then each episode every weekday will be delivered straight to you. And if we might ask one more favor, please share it with friends. I'm Norm Hitzges, and every day I'll be just wondering about something.
And I'm Mary Hitchkus, and I'm just wondering too.